All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. Glad to have you with us here today. This is Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shellett, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. I sit here all day long wearing these pajamas, so let's have some fun and get these markets to you in a quick and efficient manner. We'll start with corn. Everything's, well, not everything. We've got some green on the screen here today. Corn's higher. We've tacked on a penny since the last time we were there. See if we get this D's corn up over $5. Right now it's 7.5 cents higher to 4.95.5. Now we just ticked down to 4.95. We're a penny off the highs of 4.96. But you'll notice one thing as we go through this. So we've slowly but surely have got these ranges that have just been tightening down for us here, right? So we've got about a 7-cent range in D's corn. Trying to put a 5 in front of it. 7.25 cents higher right now to 4.95.25. So there you go. That'll give you an idea about corn. But we're up between 6.5 and 7.25 cents across the board when we talk about corn. Soybeans, they too are better on the day. 13 cents better in that Nove. There we go. We got a 14 in front of that one now. $14.75. But look, we've had a 15-cent range in Nove beans. I mean, that's kind of tight considering what the year's been like so far, right? So we're up 14 bucks, up 13 cents to $14.75. And we're about what, 8 cents off the highs, 8.5 cents off the highs. 14.09.5 is the high there. So let's see if we can stay above that $14 line now. Now, it's a little bit of a different story here for wheat. We're lower by 7.25 cents, 7.5 cents across the board. Deese is down by 7.25 cents to 6.14.5. That's 2 cents off the lows, but we've had a 16-cent range, I guess, which isn't too bad, but still for wheat, that's still kind of tight. March is down 7.25 cents, right behind it to 6.41.5. How about the hard red in Kansas City? That's 15 cents lower in that Deese contract. 7.49.5 is last there, and again, that's about 2 cents off the lows. And look at the range we've had over there too. So not quite 22 cents, I guess would say. That's not bad for wheat, I suppose. Hard red in Kansas City, but still, we're starting to slowly but surely start to see these things kind of tighten up on us as we get in to the end of the year. Not that the end of the year is anywhere near right now, but as you can see, though, these ranges are tightening up. Let's take a look at spring wheat in Minneapolis. That's off 8.75 cents, and that D's contract 7.93.25 is last there. One tick off the lows, folks, and we've had about a 13-cent range. But now we're on the lows, 9 cents lower. That's the D spring wheat in Minneapolis. 7.93 is last, and that is the low of the day. How about cotton? This was off about, it's off 20 some odd points. Now it's off 52 points in that D's contract. 86.79 is last there, and that gives us the opportunity to bring in our next guest analyst. It's going to be Todd Bubba Horowitz. He comes to us from Las Vegas. All right, Todd, what's top of mind on a Monday for you? What are your thoughts here?
There's nothing to do, Scott. This is about as quiet as it gets. The volume is half of slow volume right now, and I don't see a lot. I see the potential pressure of forcing some liquidation in wheat. I think that beans look pretty good, based on where we are, and corn is kind of stuck in that range. So we've got a smorgasbord of charts here and patterns, but the big story here is there's nothing really going on, and I think it's going to be really slow during the week. I think it's going to get slower as we move forward, as we get closer to Labor Day holiday, unless there's some major news or some strike or something that forces some action. But it still looks to me that there's some fingers on the scale trying to force out some liquidation and force some problems here. But it's nice to see a little bit of a bounce in corn and beans anyways.
Yeah, there was a time where we were worried about, say, a 4 in front of bean or corn, which we do have, so that's still a worry. And then maybe even a 12 in front of beans. But boy, we've really kind of rallied with the weather that we've seen here, and there's been some decent export sales. And then finally with wheat, we were worried about putting a 5 in front of that one. So those are probably still out there. But my question to you is this: the funds have been short corn and wheat and long beans, and that looks to be a winner so far. Do you think they're onto something?
Well, I think, listen, with the weather you're seeing, the beans being one of the smaller crops anyways, and if we're going to be short, it's going to be even tougher. So certainly I could see that continuing, but we really haven't had the explosion that you might expect in beans. I mean, we've seen such quiet markets, it's hard to get any real action or real excitement to force these markets one way or the other. It's more they get the action to the downside and they kind of drift to the upside. I mean, when's the last time we saw a big rip higher in any of the markets?
Right. Well, we're going to have to hold that thought. We need to go away and pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Todd Horowitz. He's with Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. This is the livestock side, right? And as I said in the last segment, there's a Chicago retail meat outlet called Moo and Oink, and it kind of covers everything here. We should call this the Moo and Oink side. We should get them to sponsor it. That's what we should do. Anyway, why don't we talk about what we've got going on in live cattle? That board is up behind me, and we're a little bit better here, quietly better, right? October's up 60 cents to 181.77, right? And that's, well, I guess we're about 37 cents off the highs-ish, kabibble, right? So 182.15 is the high, but we're up 55 cents, which is double nickels in the old days down on the floor. That's live cattle, steady a little bit better, I'll call that. What about feeders? This is actually steady a lot a bit better. How about that? September's up $2.17 to 253.37. Oct is up $2.05 to 256.02. So some decent gains when it comes to October feeder. We like that board. Again, $2, over $2 higher in Oct. All right, let's take a look and see what we've got going on in lean hogs. All right, December, let's go to October right away. $1.67 higher, 81.50s last there, 40 cents off the highs. We can get that out of the way. That's a good board. December also up $1.12 to 73.15. And because that puts us in a good mood, we're going to bring back in our guest analyst, and that's Todd Horowitz. He's with Bubba Trading. He's out in Las Vegas.
In a bad mood?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Kind of, I guess I'm going to assume if the grains are quiet, so are the meats, right?
It's brutal, but there was a nice little pop in live cattle in this little bit of a rally. But hogs and feeders are almost closed. It's like they're not even open. And again, this has been pretty consistent throughout. And this is part of the problems with markets. When you have a lack of activity, you have a lack of real true markets. And look, the bottom line is they're going higher. Fats and feeders are near all-time highs, and hogs are moving a little bit. But I would suspect that based on the action we're watching, that they're not going much higher. Now, I don't say they're going lower right away, but I don't see a dramatic amount of room on the upside. But again, this light volume, one order to either side can move these markets quite a bit.
Yeah, that absolutely does happen. I've seen that happen right in front of my face. All right, so would I be right in saying that we've had some analysts that think that if we do see, say, for instance, feeders tail off, it'll be more of an outside event than it'll be an inside event because, the fundamentals still look pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, they look great. The only thing here is, the old story, Scott, where high prices will cure high prices,
Absolutely.
And these are pretty high prices. So, we're at all-time highs. So again, we can look at it any way you want, but until they tell you they're going lower, they're probably going to be steady to higher, but slow until further notice.
All righty, great stuff as always. Thank you very much for coming on a busy Monday.
Mate.
Todd Horowitz, Bubba Trading, Las Vegas. We're in Nashville.